Jaden and Jordan stood at the school gate, holding their backpacks tight. It was their first day in a new city, a new school, a new life. Their mother had moved them here after their father passed away. She said it was a fresh start, a better future, a chance to grow. But deep inside, both twins knew some things never change. They were used to being the only black kids in the room. They were used to stares, whispers, even rude jokes. But this school, it felt different. Colden Heights International School. Big building, fancy uniforms, rich students, cold eyes. Jaden whispered, "You feel that?" Jordan nodded. "Yeah, like we don't belong." But they walked in anyway, head held high. The first bell, as they entered the hallway, silence followed them. Heads turned. Some kids stared at their skin. Others looked at their curly hair. One boy whispered loudly, "Who let the jungle kids in?" Another laughed, "Yo, is this a zoo or a school?" Jaden stopped walking. His fists tightened. He turned slowly, eyes sharp. But Jordan gently pulled his arm. "Stay calm," he said softly. Like Sensi said. Jaden closed his eyes, took a breath, and walked on. In the classroom, they sat at the back of the classroom. The teacher, Miss Taylor, smiled kindly. "Class, we have 2 new students today, Jaden and Jordan. Please make them feel welcome." But no one said anything. A boy in front whispered, "Why are they dressed like that?" Another girl giggled, "Maybe that's how they dress in the jungle." Jaden looked at Jordan. "Just one punch," he whispered. "One." Jordan smiled lightly. "No, that's not who we are." The lunch table. At lunch, they sat alone. Other students sat in groups, laughing, trading snacks, talking loudly. The twins unwrapped their homemade food, rice, vegetables, and flatbread, a gift from their mother, packed with love. A tall boy with blonde hair walked over. His name was Blake. He looked down at their food and laughed. "You, what is that? Monkey food?" His friends laughed behind him. Blake leaned in closer and said, "Go back to your jungle, kids. You don't belong here." Jaden stood up quickly. His chair made a loud screech. His eyes were burning. But before he could speak, Jordan stood up too, calm and cool. He looked at Blake and said one word, "Respect." Blake blinked, confused. "What?" Jordan stepped forward slowly. "You laugh now, but someday you'll remember this moment." Blake pushed his shoulder. "You threatening me?" Jordan didn't move. He just looked Blake in the eye and said nothing. Jaden was breathing hard. But again, he stayed silent. The bullies walked away, laughing loudly. After school, walking home, Jaden kicked a stone on the road. "I hate this place," he said. "I know," Jordan replied. "We should have hit him." "No," Jordan said, shaking his head. "Not yet." Jaden frowned. "But why do we keep holding back?" Jordan looked up at the sky. "Because power is not in fighting. Power is in control." Jaden stayed quiet. They reached home. Their mother opened the door, smiling. "How was your first day?" Jaden forced a smile. "Good." Jordan said softly, "Same old." Their mother looked into their eyes. She knew. She always knew. In their room. Later that night, the twins sat on their beds. Between them was a photo of their father, smiling, holding both boys after a karate match. They both had medals around their necks. Jaden whispered, "Dad wouldn't let anyone call us that." Jordan nodded. Dad would say, "The world will try to pull you down, but your spirit must rise higher." Jaden looked down. "How long do we keep rising?" Jordan smiled. "As long as we can." He opened a small wooden box. Inside were 2 black belts, clean, tied neatly. He placed one in Jaden's hands. "Remember who we are," he said. Jaden looked at the belt. He smiled for the first time that day. "Let's show them, not with anger, but with who we are." The world saw Jaden and Jordan as quiet, weak, and strange. But behind their calm faces, behind their silence, there was a secret, a truth only their family knew. And it started many years ago. Flashback. A small town, a simple life. Before the big city, before the new school, the twins lived in a small town. It was quiet, peaceful. People knew each other by name. Their house was small, but filled with love. In the backyard, behind a wooden fence, was an old shed. But it was no ordinary shed. It was their dojo, a training space their father had built with his own hands. On the wall hung 2 white belts. Below it, a framed paper that said, "The strongest warrior is not the one who fights, but the one who knows when not to." Father's training. Their father, Master Elijah, was a karate expert, a black belt in 3 styles. But more than kicks and punches, he taught discipline, respect, and self-control. Every morning at 5 o'clock a.m., the twins would wake up and train. Push-ups, stretches, breathing. Then, kata, a series of movements like a dance. Precise, focused, beautiful. Jordan was graceful. Jaden was powerful. Together, they were like mirrors of each other. Their father often said, "One day, the world will test you. But you must not fight to hurt. You fight to protect." Jaden once asked, "But what if someone calls us bad names?" His father looked into his eyes and said, "Then you show them your silence, because silence is stronger than shouting." The last tournament. The twins entered one tournament before they moved away. They were the youngest kids in the match, just 11 years old. People laughed when they entered the stage, but when the bell rang, the laughter stopped. They moved like lightning, clean, controlled, never angry. They didn't shout. They didn't show off. And they won, both of them. That day, their father cried, not because they won, but because they stayed humble. "I'm proud," he said, "because you fought like warriors and walked away like men." The storm after. A few months later, their father became sick. Very sick. The hospital visits were long. The nights were quiet. The dojo was locked. One night, before he passed, he called both boys near. He held their hands and said, "You will go where others may hate you, but do not let hate enter your hearts. Show them who you are, without praising your fists." He gave them each a small wooden box. Inside was a black belt, his own. "Now, you are ready." Present day, back to reality. The next morning in the new city, Jordan opened his box. He touched the black belt with care. "Jay," he whispered, "today is day 1. Jaden nodded. "Let's train." In the tiny space between their beds, they stood barefoot. They bowed to the photo of their father, then began their warm-up. No music, no noise, just breathing. Punch, block, step, turn. Their movements were silent, but their hearts were on fire. Back at school, the bullies laughed again that day. "Did you bring bananas for lunch, jungle kids?" one boy joked. The whole cafeteria laughed, but Jaden and Jordan didn't respond. They simply looked at each other and smiled. Blake, the leader of the bullies, got annoyed. "What are you smiling at?" Jaden leaned forward and said softly, "Just wait." Blake frowned. "Wait for what?" Jordan looked him in the eye. "Your lesson." The news spread across the school like fire. Jaden and Jordan signed up for the Showdown games. People laughed. Some were confused. Others were angry. "Are they serious?" One girl said. "They don't even talk properly," said another. But one voice was louder than all. Blake. He stood near the sign-up board, shaking his head. "This is going to be fun," he said. "We'll destroy them on stage." His friends laughed and gave him a high five. But deep inside, Blake felt something strange. The twins weren't afraid. And that scared him. The rumors begin. The next few days were full of whispers. "Did you hear? The twins are black belts." "No way. They're just pretending." "I saw them doing slow karate in the hallway. So weird." Blake didn't believe it. "They're bluffing," he said. But his friend Mike wasn't so sure. "I saw Jordan catch a flying basketball with one hand," Mike said. "Like, without looking." Blake rolled his eyes. "Whatever. They're still freaks." In the gym, each class got time to prepare for the Showdown games. It wasn't a real fight, more like a performance. Every group had to show moves, discipline, and teamwork. Blake and his friends made a plan. They would do fast punches, loud shouts, and dramatic flips. "Let's make it flashy," Blake said. "The crowd will love it." Meanwhile, Jaden and Jordan trained alone, quiet, focused. They didn't talk much. They didn't watch the others. Every move they made was sharp, clean, and strong. But the other kids didn't understand it. "They look like robots," one boy said. "No emotion, no fun." The breaking point. One afternoon after training, Blake followed them. He waited until they were alone near the lockers. Then he stepped in front of them, arms crossed. "You think you're better than us?" he asked. Jaden looked at him calmly. "No, we just want to perform." Blake smirked, "Then perform this." He shoved Jaden hard against the locker. The sound echoed in the hallway. Jordan stepped forward, angry, his hand raised halfway. But Jaden shook his head slowly. "Not here," he whispered. "Not like this." Blake laughed. "That's what I thought. Weak." He walked away, but for the first time, he didn't feel like he'd won. A quiet moment. That evening at home, the twins sat quietly. Jaden rubbed his shoulder. It hurt, but he didn't complain. "Why did we hold back again?" he asked. Jordan opened their father's old karate book and pointed at a line. "To fight in anger is to lose twice." Jaden sighed. "Then I hope the stage is enough." Jordan nodded. "It will be. Let our moves speak." Blake's doubts. Later that night, Blake sat in his room. He kept thinking about the way Jaden looked at him. No fear, no hate, just control. Why didn't he head back? Blake asked himself. He looked at old videos of karate fights online. One clip showed a calm fighter winning without shouting or showing off. He looked just like Jordan. Blake closed the laptop, feeling uneasy. The last practice. The final day of practice came. Blake's group showed fast moves and loud yells. The crowd clapped. Teachers smiled. Then it was the twins' turn. They wore plain white clothes. No color, no show. They stepped onto the mat. And they moved. Not loud, not fast. But powerful, precise, beautiful. Each kick landed clean. Each turn was perfect. Their movements matched like a mirror. When they bowed at the end, the gym was silent. Then, slow clapping began. One teacher, then another, then the whole room. Even Blake clapped once, before stopping himself. The day of the showdown games finally arrived. The school gym was full. Parents, students, teachers. Everyone was there, waiting to watch, waiting to judge. The lights were bright. The air was heavy, and the twins stood quietly in the corner, stretching. The morning of the event, before school, their mother had packed their lunch with care. "Be calm," she said. "Be clear. And remember what your father taught you." Jaden gave her a hug. "We'll make you proud." Jordan added, "We'll make him proud too." As they walked to school, the streets were quiet. The sky was blue. But inside their hearts, a storm was rising. Backstage, Blake's team, Blake and his friends were warming up. Fast punches, loud shouts, high energy. They were ready to win, to show the twins they didn't belong. Blake smiled to himself. Let's shut their show down before it starts. But something about today felt different. He kept glancing at the twins. No fear, no talking, just focus. It made him nervous. The host speaks. The gym was loud with cheers and music. A teacher stepped up with a mic. "Welcome to the annual Showdown Games. Today, each team will perform their self-defense routine. We are looking for power, control, teamwork, and spirit." Each team had 5 minutes to perform. Blake's team was third. The twins, last. Blake's turn. Blake's team stepped onto the mat, wearing black uniforms and red headbands. They bowed loudly, then began. Punch. Kick. Flip. Their moves were fast and flashy. Blake even did a spinning kick and landed in a split. The crowd clapped and cheered. They shouted with every move. Their routine was wild and loud. At the end, they posed dramatically, breathing hard. The crowd applauded. Some even whistled. Blake smiled and looked at the twins. "Follow that," he whispered under his breath. Jordan's words. Before going on stage, Jaden felt nervous. "Everyone loved their act," he said. "We're too simple." Jordan shook his head. "We're not here to impress. We're here to express." Jaden took a breath. "Let's do this." The twins step up. The gym grew quiet. Jaden and Jordan walked slowly to the mat. Plain white uniforms. No music, no loud shouts. They bowed, silent and respectful. Then, they moved. Block, turn, step, strike. Their bodies moved in perfect sync. No sound but their feet and breath. Each move was sharp, strong, and clear. Slow at first, then faster, then a sudden stop, like lightning frozen. Jordan did a takedown move. Jaden responded with a counter. The audience leaned forward in silence. No drama, no flips. Just pure, beautiful discipline. At the end, they bowed again. No words, no smiles. Just peace. The reaction. For 5 seconds. Silence. Then, loud applause. Louder than anyone else got. Some teachers stood and clapped. Even the principal smiled. A few students looked shocked. Blake's friends whispered, "That was real." One teacher said, "That was not." But Blake didn't clap. He just stared. His face was blank. He didn't understand what he had just seen. After the show, in the hallway, students came up to the twins. "That was cool. Where did you learn that?" "You're really black belts." Jaden just smiled. Jordan said, "We had a great teacher." Then Blake appeared. He didn't speak, just stared. Finally, he asked, "Why didn't you fight back all this time?" Jaden looked him in the eye. "Because strength is not loud." Jordan added, "And respect is earned, not forced." Blake lowered his eyes. For the first time, he looked unsure. He walked away, quiet, thoughtful. The gym was quiet again. The showdown games were over. Jaden and Jordan didn't win first prize, but they won something better: respect. Students looked at them differently now. No one called them jungle kids. No one laughed when they passed. Some even asked to train with them. But not everyone was happy, and especially not Blake. Blake's anger grows. Blake sat alone on the school steps that afternoon. His fists were clenched. His pride was broken. "How did they make me look like a fool?" he whispered. He remembered the silence, the crowd clapping. Not for him, but for them. "I'm the strong one," he told himself. "They're just quiet freaks." Then Mike walked over. "Man, let it go. They're not our enemies." Blake looked at him coldly. "You sound like one of them now." A dark plan. Later that night, Blake sent a message to his group chat. "Tomorrow, after school, the back lot. Let's end this." Some of his friends replied with laughing emojis. Others hesitated. "Bro, what do you mean?" Blake replied, "No cameras, no rules, just us and the twins." The next day, at school, Jaden and Jordan felt something strange. People looked at them, but not with respect, with worry. One girl whispered to Jordan, "Be careful today." "Why?" he asked. She just shook her head. Jaden felt the tension too. Something's not right. The message. At lunchtime, they found a note inside Jordan's locker. "Backlot. After school. Come if you're brave." Jaden sighed. "We knew this would happen." Jordan nodded. "We didn't ask for a fight." Jaden folded the paper. "But sometimes, the fight finds us." After school, the setup. The backlot behind the school was quiet. Old walls. Broken fence, no cameras. Blake stood there with 4 of his biggest friends. They waited, laughing and stretching their arms. Mike stood near the edge, nervous. "This is a bad idea," he said. Blake didn't care. "They think they're better than us. Let's remind them who runs this place." The twins arrived. Jaden and Jordan walked into the lot. No fear in their eyes. No anger. Just calm. They stopped a few steps away from the group. We're not here to fight, Jordan said. Blake laughed. Too late. You showed off. Made us look weak. Jaden replied, You did that to yourself. The smile disappeared from Blake's face. The first push. One of the boys charged forward and shoved Jaden. He didn't move. He didn't react. Another came for Jordan, tried to grab him. With one smooth move, Jordan sidestepped and let the boy fall to the ground. Still, no punches. Blake growled. Hit them. The group rushed forward. The fight begins, but not like they expected. It wasn't a fight. It was a lesson. The twins didn't hit with fists. They used skill, timing, control. Each attack was blocked, each push redirected. One by one, the boys found themselves falling, gently, but firmly. Jordan grabbed a wrist, twisted it slightly, and the attacker froze. Jaden ducked under a swing, tapped the boy's shoulder, and knocked him off balance. No blood, no harm. Just clean, silent defense. Blake loses control. Now only Blake was standing, his face red, his heart racing. He screamed and charged at Jaden with a wild punch. Jaden dodged and stepped behind him. Blake fell forward, rolled in the dirt, and landed on his back, breathing hard. Beaten, but not hurt. Jordan stood over him. We didn't come here to win, he said. Jaden added, We came to show you who we really are. Weeks passed. The school was calmer now. The bullies stayed quiet. The whispers stopped. Jaden and Jordan walked through the halls with quiet respect behind them. They had earned it, not by hurting anyone, but by showing control, courage, and heart. But something bigger was waiting, something they didn't expect, the surprise letter. One morning, their mother found an envelope in the mailbox. It was thick and white, with a golden symbol on the front. She opened it slowly, then called out, Jaden, Jordan, come here. They rushed to her side. She read aloud, You are invited to compete in the National Junior Martial Arts Showcase, representing your city. Jaden's eyes widened. Wait, us? Jordan whispered, But we never applied. Their mother smiled. Someone saw your performance at the school games and sent in a video, preparing for the big stage. The next few weeks were full of training. This time, it was more serious. Long hours, tough drills, strict routines. Still, they stayed calm. They trained in the garage at the park, even in their tiny living room. Sometimes they fell. Sometimes they got frustrated. But they always stood up again. Their mother watched them with tears in her eyes. You are walking the same path your father walked, she whispered one night. A message from Blake. One evening, Jaden's phone buzzed. A message. From Blake. Hey, I saw the news. I just wanted to say, I was wrong. Jaden stared at the screen for a moment, then smiled. He replied, Thanks. It takes strength to say that. The day of the showcase. The city stadium was huge. Banners flew high. People from different states arrived in colorful uniforms. Jaden and Jordan stood quietly in their simple white clothes. They didn't talk much, but their eyes said everything. We're ready. Backstage, other kids practiced flashy moves, kicks in the air, flips, and tricks. Some laughed when they saw the twins. They looked like monks, one girl whispered, but the twins didn't respond. They stretched slowly, breathed deeply. The performance, their turn came. They stepped onto the large stage, lights shining bright. The crowd was loud, then quieted. The twins bowed and began. Each move was strong and silent, like waves moving through wind, like fire that doesn't burn, just shines. Their routine was slow, then fast, then still. One moment, they blocked each other. Next, they moved in perfect mirror, like shadows dancing. They didn't shout. They didn't spin. They just flowed. At the end, they bowed again, and the stadium erupted with applause. The judges speak. After a long wait, the final scores came in. Jaden and Jordan didn't win first place. They didn't even win second. But something happened. One of the head judges came up to them and said, "You boys reminded me what real martial arts means." He shook both their hands. The crowd clapped again. This time, not for winners, but for true warriors. Back at school, when they returned, students cheered. Even teachers welcomed them with smiles. One student said, "You're our pride now." Another said, "You made us think differently." Jaden and Jordan didn't brag. They just nodded. Jordan said quietly, "We're still the same." Jaden added, "Just more." Scene. The phone rang again. This time, it wasn't just a tournament. It was an invitation. "We are building a new national team," the voice said. "We want Jaden and Jordan to be part of it." The boys looked at each other, stunned. Their mother's hand covered her mouth. "This is big." Jaden whispered, "Can we really do this?" Jordan smiled. "We already did." The journey begins. 2 weeks later, the twins arrived at the National Youth Martial Arts Center. Huge halls, big names, cameras, and people from all over the country. Most wore expensive uniforms. Some looked them up and down. One boy laughed, "They don't look like champions." But the twins just smiled and walked past. They weren't here to talk. They were here to show. Training with the best. The schedule was hard. 6 a.m. training. Sparring, drills, focus practice. Some kids showed off. Some complained. But Jaden and Jordan? They worked in silence, calm and steady. Their coach noticed. "They don't talk much," he said to another trainer. "But they move like water and strike like fire." Blake's surprise. One weekend, during visiting hours, someone came to see them. It was Blake. He walked in, awkward, holding a small bag. Jaden raised an eyebrow. "Didn't expect you here." Blake chuckled nervously. "I brought snacks, and maybe a sorry I didn't finish." He paused. "I've been training too. You guys, you changed me." Jordan smiled. "Good. Then our work isn't just kicks and blocks." Jaden added, "It's impact." The national showcase. The final event came, a live performance on national TV. All students would perform one short routine. One chance to show the country who they were. The twins prepared in silence, just like always. No fancy tricks. Just the truth. The stage. One last time. The stadium lights turned on. The announcer called their names. From West Side City, Jaden and Jordan, the silent warriors. The crowd was huge. TV cameras zoomed in. The twins bowed and moved. Each step was smooth. Each block was honest. Each strike had purpose. People watching at home stopped what they were doing. Some had never seen boys like them. Some had never seen martial arts done so humbly, so purely. The applause heard everywhere. When they finished, there was silence for a moment, then the loudest applause of the night. The internet lit up. Clips of their performance went viral. Who are the silent twins? Real martial arts, not show. From bully to brilliant. Their story spread, not just their moves, but their message. Real strength is quiet. Kindness is power. Respect is earned. Back home. When they returned home, the whole neighborhood was waiting. Children clapped. Parents smiled. Even teachers from their old school were there. One little boy ran up and asked, "Can you teach me?" Jaden looked at Jordan. Jordan nodded. "Let's build something better."